Hi my loves, hi my loves, hi my loves. I hope y'all are good and I hope y'all are having a good day, a good morning, a good day and a good evening. Alrighty. That irritating lady on TikTok is back. She's back. Alright, hi. If you are seeing my face for the first time, just know that I am very irritating. I don't get to the point. I make long videos. This one is going to be long as all of my videos. And I don't get to the point, and we don't know what the point is. All we know is that we are going somewhere and we don't know where we are going. No, I know where I'm going. I know the final destination, but yeah, that's it. To everyone else who always sees me and you feel like I'm too arrogant and you always skip, you can continue to skip. Toodles, even to the new ones, if you feel like this is not my type of content and this one is even going to be boring, this lesson is going to be boring. If you do decide to stay, even after every single thing that I said, if you do decide to stay, please know it is important that you understand that in order to understand my messages, you will need to go through a few of my videos. So before you comment and ask me, have I made similar videos, just go through my page, you will find them. I've made so many videos with so much information, right? This lesson will not align with everyone and it will not be intriguing to everyone, and it's okay to skip it. No one is forcing you to watch it, no one is forcing you to like it, no one is forcing you to comment. Let alone, on top of that, no one is forcing you to follow me, to like my content, or to watch it. You can skip along if you feel like I'm boring, right? That's okay. As I said, this lesson is even going to be more boring. And then the other thing, before you contact me into my inbox asking for a consultation, on TikTok, I've pinned 3 videos. What to know, how to book a consultation. On TikTok, you will find it, on YouTube, you will find it by name. Number 2, I've pinned, what's that video? My mentorship, what to know about my mentorship. People are asking me, I want to join your mentorship. I've made a whole video explaining how the process works. I'm not going to explain that in the inbox section. You will have to go watch the video if you want my mentorship. If you do not have the capacity to watch my long videos, you are not capable of entering a mentorship with me. Number 3, I've pinned another video saying I'm not nice. For you to not expect a God here and now be expecting miracles when you come for consultations. We don't do that. I will give you the best that I can, but also under limitations of your ancestors. Okay. How do you book a consultation? I will repeat this because people still ask me the same thing all the time. How do you book a consultation? You can inbox me on TikTok. You get the message that everyone gets. You can email me. The email links are found on my bio. On YouTube, it's written on my TikTok. There's a link. There's also a link to my website. My website has prices. You can't book on the website. You have to message me directly. You can request to book on the website, but people request to book, I respond to their emails, they don't respond back. I don't know why they are bothering me like that. Watch the prices, look at the prices and leave it until you know you're ready to book. And for those interested in booking phone consultations, for now I've stopped them a bit. I have stopped the phone consultations a bit. I'm getting exhausted, and phones, they exhaust me. The phone consultations take a lot from me because I have to carry your ancestors, I have to carry you, the energies of the depressions and all these low vibrational energies that you guys come into consultations with. They bother me. So right now I'm only doing voice note consultation, but that's the best. It's best for everyone because you will always have the voice note to re-listen to over and over again. Alrighty, I think that's it. This video is connected to the dragon, the menstrual blood dragon video. It's connected to the menstrual blood videos. The first menstrual blood has a uterus in flowers. That's the cover. The second one is Medusa, the dragon mother, Medusa. The third one, what's the third one? Oh, the third one is a goddess of the water, pouring water, wearing yellow. That's the third one. So those are the videos that it's related to. The other video we haven't gotten yet. This is the intro to the one that I've been saying I want to do about the men and their purpose on earth. I will hint on it, but I haven't gotten deep into it. I'm not going to get deep into it here. We need this foundation. In preparations, after watching this video and you want to prepare yourself for the next lesson, watch the Divine Union videos, right? All the videos that I've made about Divine Union. The titles are there. Even if I forget the covers, all my videos have titles. You can go, all of them. It's like literally videos that don't have titles are like 5, right? You can go through the video and read the titles one by one and you'll find it. All the divine videos, because the next lesson is connected to this. We're getting deeper into Divine Union. Okay. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about the dark feminine, the dark goddesses, right? In order to understand femininity, what it entails and what the purpose of being feminine, the goddesses. In order to understand the goddesses, you need to understand all the aspects of the gods, all the aspects of the goddesses, right? You cannot be, many of you say, I'm a goddess, I'm a goddess, I'm a goddess. You call yourself a goddess, but what a lot of you do is that you only focus on the good and the love and the light of the goddesses. But in order to be a true goddess, you have to embody. You have to embody all the faces of a goddesses. Now let's track back to the Lemurian Sutra Golden Age videos. I don't remember what the covers are. The Lemurian, the Sutra Yuga videos, and the Golden Age, right? So let's track back there. In that video, I told you that you must go watch it to understand what I'm saying. If you haven't watched it, right? If you are interested in learning, if you have come to my page and decided to stay because when you want to learn, not because when you just want messages that are interesting and hyped up, that everyone will hype up. If you're interested in learning, you will go and find that video. I think the cover, I think the cover is like a crystal. It's at the bottom. I think the cover is like crystals, like illuminating crystals, purple, blue, illuminating crystals. But around there, if you look around, you will see the Lemuria videos, and I've made other videos on Atlantis and Lemuria. Okay, so we enter the Golden Age, right? Before the Golden Age, let's look at before the Golden Age. In the first dragon video, when I was talking about the dragon mother, I told you that the 7 dragon mothers came and created the earth with their menstrual blood, right? The earth was a sanctuary where the goddesses will come and learn and grow and become into gods. And I'm narrating the story as I've seen it in my dreams and as I've been told, but I'm only narrating snippets of it. Some of the information I'm saying, you won't find it on the internet. You can confirm it with your ancestors if I'm lying or if I'm telling the truth, and they will tell you if I'm lying or not. But that's how it was narrated to me, right? You don't have to accept it or take it as truth, but that's how it was narrated to me. I believe it's true because it was narrated to me by my angels. Now, what then happened is that this is the place, this was the training ground for the goddesses. The goddesses will come here, they will learn. But then as time went, as I always tell you, Earth is the best school. It's the best school in the whole galaxies, not just one galaxy, but but in the whole galaxies. It was created in such a perfection because it is the only one that was created by the 7 dragon mothers. Some is just 2, 3, 1, whatever, but this one is the only one that was created by the 7 dragon mothers. So it held the 7 chakras, right? Hence, that's why the earth has 7 chakras. Not only that, but it had the potential to ascend to the 12D because of how it was created, right? So with that said, it then started becoming a school, the school for the gods and the goddesses, right? It became a school for the gods and the goddesses. Now, as Earth progressed, one of the main purpose of the reason why the gods and the goddesses will come to Earth, it is also for unity, for divine union, so that they can unite into one, into the yin and the yang, form a whole, and then progress as gods and goddesses, right? And then what then happened is that certain entities, certain divine beings, certain, not necessarily all of them are divine, but certain beings from different planets also started wanting something from Earth. They started having an agenda, right? Hence, that's why in the many histories you learn about the Anunnakis, you learn about that the credo would always talk about the Chatatoras, right? The Chatatoras or something like that. Yes, the serpents, the lizard looking like beings who came and mated with the humans. They call them in English what do they call them in English? The reptilians, right? To show that this is not new concept that came with the white people. We already have it in this knowledge. We already have the equivalent of those names in our own cultures, in our own mother tongues. And right, this is where we talk about different beings from different planets coming in. Now, as they came in, some wanted to rule. Now, in the golden age, many beings started coming in, were higher beings, and they would come, learn, grow, get into divine union and go. Some won't get into divine union, they would just go, right? And now, towards the end, what made the golden age end? It is because towards the end, many other beings were coming in who were not high vibrational, who had a different agenda. And that is when they started this nurseries of developing humans, of testing if humans can be made, which was a good concept because now the gods could come in and experience Earth in human form, and if they pass it, then they would be able to transcend into the higher realms of godhood, right? So with that, it was a good project when it was started, and it started well, until other beings decided to come and create their own races, which then started a disharmony and an imbalance, because the first gods created the human race after themselves, after their own image and likeness, right? That's why in the Bible it says that let us create man in our own image and likeness, right? Meaning that everything looks like them. But now the other entities decided to create other certain types of humans. And that now started descending, the vibration of the earth started descending. As the vibration of the earth started descending, we went into the silver age. From the gold, we went into the silver until we got into the copper. Then now we are in the bronze age, which is called the Kali Yuga. But the Kali Yuga is also finishing. Now, this comes in my message. Now, when the earth was descending and descending and descending and descending, now the earth was now patriarch. It was patriarchal, meaning the gods were ruling and the goddesses were put on a back burner, right? The gods were ruling and the goddesses were put on the back burner. But now there's an imbalance of the yin and the yang, which has caused a huge imbalance on the earth. And because masculinity and patriarchy was ruling, and the matriarchy, the femininity were all put on the back burner, the earth was becoming quicker and quicker descending into darkness, and it was becoming destroyed. Because remember, the feminine energy, it is the one that created the earth. There was no masculinity, there was no patriarchy. And you remember that creation can happen without sperms. It was never even intended for the sperms to be part of creation, because even a study came out that said that the woman's egg doesn't age. The woman's egg doesn't age. The issue is the man. The sperms, whatever, infertility is not a woman issue. It's always a man issue. But because the doctors are men, everything is taught by men, they will always say it's the woman. The woman is blamed for every single thing, right? But the reality is that if the men would lose grip and allow the woman to rule, every single thing will come into balance, because that's how the earth was created. Now the earth is patriarchy. Now comes the great, I want to talk about the great mythologies, right? The great mythologies that explain the purpose of the goddesses. I'm going to touch on two mythologies. I'm going to touch on the Hindu mythology and the Egyptian mythologies in order for us to understand the purpose of the goddesses, right? Now the world is in descent. It's in chaos. The gods are unable to stop the descent. The gods are unable to control the chaos that they have been creating and governing under. It is in total descent. Now, this is where Kali comes in. This is where Kali, hence that's why it's called the Kali Yoga, right? But before we get to Kali, let's talk about Goddess Kali. I want to talk about Goddess Kali, right? Who is Goddess Kali? But before we can get there, we need to understand her mythology, right? So we go into Hindi, we go into Hinduism, we go into India, we're taking a journey to India. This will help you at least a little bit understand the mythologies of the goddesses as stated in the different sacred books around the world, right? The first person we need to talk about, because as I said, the gods were now ruling. We have Lord Shiva, right? Lord Shiva, that's the first person we talk about, Lord Shiva. I'm not going to focus on Lord Shiva. On the next lesson, that's when we're going to get into Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva had a wife, Shakti. Right? Shakti is the first wife of Lord Shiva. She is the representative of the divine feminine. Right? Her story is that Shakti and Shiva loved each other so much, and she was the queen, the daughter of King Daksha. And Shiva and Shakti were deeply in love, but her father insulted Shiva. And due to that insult, she was deeply saddened by it. And then she decided to immolated herself in the sacred fire, meaning that she threw herself in the sacred fire where she died. Shiva was like he was destroyed by that. He was in deep grief. Now, when she saw that, she reincarnated as Parvati. As she was reborn as Parvati, daughter of Himvana, the Himalayan king. And eventually, after a lot of work, she managed to win Shiva over, right? And now Parvati is much more gentle, nurturing, loving, the goddess of fertility and devotion, right? Now, this is where many people prefer these types of goddesses. They prefer these types of goddesses. But the thing about it is that Shakti had many faces. She had many faces to her. She was one goddess, but she presented herself in multiple faces and multiple goddesses. We have Shakti. She had more than 5 sides, but I'm just only going to talk about the 5. We have Parvati, who is gentle, nurturing, loving, goddess of fertility and devotion. We have Durga, the goddess of warrior and protection. We have Kali, the fierce destroyer of evil. We have Annapurna, the nurturer. And then we have Mahadvi, the supreme goddess, the sacred of all. right? Now, she is one goddess who takes different forms depending on the role that she's about to play, right? Love and light is good. Love and light is good, but there is a period where the dark feminine was needed, and it is important. Right now, when the world was descending, even in the mythology of goddess Kali, it says, the mythology of goddess Kali says that the world was descending. The world was descending into darkness, and the gods were unable to contain the darkness and fight the darkness. And it was coming to a point when the gods would try to fight this king. I forgot the king's name. I should have written the king's name. When they would try to fight this king, every time he would drop blood, the blood, when it drops on the earth, it will create a replica, many faces of the very same image of this king. And this was an evil king who was destroying the earth. And yet the gods were struggling to fight it. And at a certain point, the gods decided they cannot fight it. And they are tired and they are losing the battle, right? And that is when Shakti came in. And so what the gods then decided to do is that Shakti said that she will come in and fight. What the gods then decided to do is that they put all their powers to aid her and put it all in her. And she came through as Shakti and Parvati and Daga. When she got into goddess Daga, that's when the war started, right? And she would try to destroy this thing, but the drop, when it hits the ground, another demon would fall out. So if it was speared here and blood spilled, 10 demons will come out, right? And she got angry. That's when Daga got angry. That's when a goddess Daga got angry now. And when she got angry, she unleashed Kali, goddess Kali, out of her. And Kali then came in to fight the war. Kali, it is the fierce form of Shakti. She is a representative of time itself. Even her name, Kala, represents time. It is to mean time. But she is the destructor of the ego, the power that liberates the soul from ignorance. Kali is the raw, untamed, unstoppable force of the pure cosmic energy. And hence, that's why she is always depicted in black, because the cosmics are always black. The true energy of creation and destruction is always black. That's the true energy. That's the true energy that every single thing comes from. Pure cosmic energy is black. Right? She is feared. She is loved. I love her. I really love deeply Kali. And she is deeply revered. Right? And it is in this. Now, what then happened is that Kali comes in. Who is Goddess Kali? Goddess Kali is the one who's always depicted in black, 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 black. Her tongue is always sticking out and dripping blood, with blood on it. She has a skull of faces as a necklace. She has many hands with different weapons. And she has this wild hair, and she's always wearing red, right? Goddess Kali came in. When Goddess Kali came into the fight, she realized that the first thing that she needed to do in order to win this fight, it was that she needed to drink the blood. Because remember, the blood, when it fell on the ground, many demons will come in. So before it even hit the ground, she would drink it. And then that's how they won the war, is that she then drank all the blood. And through drinking all the blood, she started to destroy, right? She started to destroy everything. She started to destroy everything. But the thing about Goddess Kali is that when she gets on the path of destruction, she is the goddess of, she's not the goddess of destruction per se, but she's the goddess of purification. She is the goddess that comes in and purifies every single thing that's on the earth. But the thing about it is that when she gets into purification mode, she will purify and cleanse the earth and leave it in its original form. Leaving the earth in its original form, it means that you leave it without the humans. because the earth in its original form did not have humans. Humans were created on the earth. So destroying the earth and purifying it means that she leaves it without the humans, right? Now, this is where we are right now in the cosmic war, in the cosmic mythology. This is where we are. We are at the point where the earth is at a point where it's at its darkness. Hence why it's called the Kali. And Goddess Kali is coming to destroy every single thing on the earth. If the humans do not change, if the humans do not change, if the humans do not stop what they are going to do, the destructions are going to get worse and worse and worse. They are needed for the cosmic balance. The destructions are needed for the cosmic balance. It's not an act of it's not an act of evil, but it's an act of protecting the earth in its and purifying the earth of all its darkness and returning it to its whole, right? But that then delays the ascension of the earth, right? It then delays the ascensions of the earth. Now the key is to note that there was no extreme evil. If there was no extreme evil on the earth, there would be no need for Goddess Kali to come out. But when the world is at the extreme evil, that is when the Goddess Kali comes out to destroy and liberate the earth from the humans. And we can see as humans how much we've destroyed the earth. Kali comes out to liberate. Liberation and cleansing of the earth. And that's why she is also known as Mother Kali. Right? Now, in order to stop the destruction, that Kali was doing, Lord Shiva had to come and lie down on her path. And when she would step on Lord Shiva, it is then when her senses will come back, because of the love and devotion that she had for Shiva. And also not because she was submitted to Shiva, no. It was also because Shiva also loved and devoted and revered her. And it is in that act, when she would step on Shiva, that she would remember and get to her senses. And hence, that's why in many of the depiction, you see her with her tongue stuck out, her hair, and blood is dripping off her and the skulls, and she's holding a head of the beast that they had just slayed. And not only that, but she has one foot on top of Shiva, right? And Shiva's prostrated on the ground. That is the only way to stop her. And when Shiva does that, then they stop. That is the act of the divine sacred union between Lord Shiva and Goddess Kali. Right? And in order to stop the current destructions that the earth is going through, it is in the sacred union, the divine union between the gods and the goddesses. That is what will take us back into the golden age. Hence, that's why we are now in the Kali Yoga. Right? There's other yogas, those ones that the minor ones before the golden age, but I hardly talk about them. Right? Don't go and try and correct me as if like I don't know them. I know them. Hardly talk about them because not everyone understands these things, and to keep the lesson short, it's always easy to talk about the four. Right? Now, in the end, in order to prepare for the golden age, and in order to stop the destruction of the Kali, of Goddess Kali, we need to go through divine unions. But we cannot go to the divine unions if the goddesses do not know who they are. Because the divine union, it is the union between the gods and the goddesses. So if the gods don't know their own powers, and if the goddesses don't even know who they are, and they are afraid to unleash their dark feminine energy, then there is no way that we are going to go into the golden age. Because it is only when Goddess Kali comes out that Anipura and Madhiva can come out. right? That is the only time. Because Annapurna is the goddess of restoration. That is now when the rebuilding can happen, only when Kali has come out. But the only thing that will stop the destruction of Kali, it is the union of the sacred union of the divine union. That is the only thing that can stop it. Right? Now, this is not the only goddess, right? Such stories are not only found in India, in the Indian mythology. We have the same goddess, we have the same story in the Egyptian mythology. Many of you already know it. Many of you already know who I'm about to refer to. Sekhmet, right? Goddess Sekhmet, the lion-headed goddess of war, pleasures, the destroyer of evil, but she is also the protector and healer of the earth like Kali. Right, let's go into a little bit of a brief. I made note here so I don't forget. Sekhmet her name represents power, might, strength. She is usually depicted with a lion head, with a solar disc on her head and a cobra. Solar disc and a cobra on her head. She is the daughter of the god Ra. Amun-Ra. She is the daughter of the god Amun-Ra, the sun god. Right? Now her story, similar to Kali, her story, it says that when the humans were evil and they disobeyed and they were the peak of their evil thing, and they had come to a point where they were disobeying Ra and they were evil and killing each other, Ra then sent Sekhmet. Sekhmet is his eye, is the eye of Ra, to punish and purify. That's the most important part, to purify the earth. Just like Kali, she goes on a rampage of purging and removing all darkness to cleanse the earth. But Sekhmet, also like Kali, cannot stop herself. Remember, we are all brothers and sisters. The mythologies will always be the same, especially between India and Egypt. So, in order for her to start the purification, she cannot stop herself once she starts. Both Kali and Sekhmet need to be stopped. On Sekhmet's part, the purification, once she has come to a point of purification, because they both drink the blood, right? In order to purify, they both drink the blood, right? Because if you go back to the menstrual blood video, I tell you about how much the power of the blood is. Now, with her, Ra had to trick her. So the only person who could stop her was Ra. Ra had to trick her. And what he did is that he flooded the Nile with beer and dyed the beer in red so that it looked like blood. And when she would come in, because every single thing that had blood in it, she needed to destroy it in order to purify it. Then when she would drink the blood, the beer disguised as blood, she would then get drunk, and then she would then go unconscious, and that's how Ra would stop her. Right? Even though they both were sent, come in when it is a point where the earth needs to be purified, but they are also the healers and the protectors of the earth. It is in their cleansing of the human that they protect the earth and heal it. And this is where we are right now. We are in that point where they are healing and protecting the earth. That's the dual nature of a goddess. A goddess is love, light, kind, nurturing, feminine, fertility, but the goddess also is fierce, dark, a destroyer, right? And it is in this act that patriarchy does not understand. It is in this act that men fear the goddesses, because when they get to the point of the destructive nature, it only takes a man who is in tune in himself. It only takes a man who understands his role as a god. It only takes a man who is pure and in his own power to be able to stop a goddess who is raging. And the reality is that many men today are unable to deal with a true goddess. They only want the side that is submissive, the side, and a goddess can never submit. That's the reality. A goddess can never submit. And hence, that's why they sold us this mythology that the woman is supposed to submit. But yet a woman never submits. It's not her role to submit. A woman's role is not to submit or to love. Instead, a woman's role is to be submitted to. But because the patriarch didn't want to submit, the gods felt like they could do this on their own. And they have failed in trying to rule on their own. Just like how the men are failing, and the more they try to rule, the more they destroy the earth. The wars, man-made. They are all because of men and their egos. The destructions of the earth, it's all men. Every single thing, the destruction of the family, the destruction of the family unit, it is the men who have come with that destruction. Right? All these things that have been created that are destroying, but pollutions and all these things, it is the men. And in places where the women are ruling, like Iceland, where the women are ruling and where the women are in leadership, they are the most cleanest places on the earth, and they are the most good places on the earth. If the women are allowed to take back their power, but yet how will the men allow the women to take back their powers when the women are afraid of taking their full powers? Because the women are afraid to take their full essence, their true power. That include the dark feminine energy. Right? Just like Goddess Kali and Goddess Sekhmet, the earth needs to be purified, but they are also the protector. So the feminine energy, the femininity of the earth needs to go through a purging and a purification. And this is where we also, they're not the only two. Inan, in Mesopotamia, we have Inan, who's Ishira. We have Tiamat, we have Lilith. Right? Lilith also comes into that place. And even the story of Lilith first comes in, we first learn of Lilith in the Canaanite mythology, where she was depicted as the first wife of Adam. And you know, when I talk about it with my ancestors and we talk about this, they always say that she was another side of Eve. Lilith and Eve are one person. Just like how Shakti and Kali are one person. Just like how Inan and Ishira are the same person. It is just that Lilith had to be put to submission. It is just that in the mythologies, they couldn't put Lilith because Lilith represented a goddess that they could not control. And so they preferred to only talk about Eve. They prefer to only talk about Eve. But the other side of Eve is Lilith. Lilith and Eve are the same person. Hence, they were both married to Adam. They're the same person. Hence, that's why Eve could go and talk to the snake and say, eat the fruit and whatever it is, and bring out whatever, and make sure that they come out of the garden. They could not stay in that garden forever. And Eve understood that for us to become gods, we need to know the knowledge. We need to have knowledge of good and evil. And we need to exit this nursery. And in order for us to exit this nursery, she then became Lilith. And when Lilith came in, and hence that's why Adam, when you read the Bible in the story of Adam, you will hear, when you read the story of Adam, you will hear when God is asking them what happened, Adam keeps on blaming Eve. It was Eve. She came with the fruit. It was the woman. It was the woman. Adam keeps on putting all the blame on the woman, on Eve. And yet we say he's the great Pachak. A man who could not stand up for himself. A man who did not see the need that they needed to leave the garden. And we say he's the father. Yet he could not see the need that they were trapped. He was okay with being trapped in that garden, in that nursery. And so Eve knew that this is the Hunger Games. And for me to leave the Hunger Games, we need to leave this place. In order for us to become gods, like that God who keeps on telling us and gives us knowledge, gives us instruction, we need to leave this place. And that's when Lilith came in. And that's why they were kicked out. When Adam left the garden, Adam did not leave with Eve. Adam left with Lilith. Because Adam left with Lilith, they had to demonize Lilith because they preferred Eve. And hence, when you read the mythologies of Lilith, it changes over the years. Just like when you read the mythologies of Inan, of Shiva, they change it over. The mythologies of Tiamat, they change it over. They change over the years. Right? It is only in the mythologies in Egypt that have India that have remained in the way that they are. So we are in the Kali. We are in the process of Kali that destructs where the earth is being destructed. It's going through a destruction. And this destruction is the purification of the earth. The wars, the plagues, the diseases, the viruses, and all these things are going to come on the earth. They're going to come more and more on the earth. People who sit and say, where is God? Why has God left the earth to be destructed? How is there's no God? Because if there was a God, there would not be any hunger, there would be no pleasures, there would be no. But yet, it is this very same God that you are talking about who have led the earth. They are the ones that led the earth to be as it is, because they wanted to remove, because everyone felt like it was always better to have a man in rulership. And their gods are failing. They cannot do anything, and they don't even know who they are. They don't even know themselves. They don't even know how to get to their divinity and their godhood. And not only that, even in the mythology in Hindi, the gods were losing their powers and they were starting to die out. And the only way to save the men race was for the gods to give all their powers to goddess to goddess, what's her name? To goddess, Shakti. To goddess Shakti. So the male race is dying. It's going extinct. You can go. If you are new here and you feel like I'm talking gibberish, go and Google it. The male chromosome is getting extinct. It's going out of extinction. And if the men do not fix themselves, and you will see them, they are the ones that are, no, that's not true. Okay. If the men do not fix themselves, we will get to a point where there will be no male on the earth. And the goddesses need to find themselves. The goddesses need to find themselves. And when the goddesses and the gods have found themselves, the men have given all their powers, because they never had powers to begin with. They've given back the powers to the goddesses and allow the goddesses to rule, and then get into a divine union. The goddesses need to also find themselves. It is only in finding your Kali that you liberate yourself as a woman. You have to find your dark feminine rage. You have to come in and you have to destroy every single thing that is negative and evil in your life. And you have to go through a cleansing, a process of purging and cleansing of your life in order for Parvati to come through. In order for restoration to come through, you need to take back your power. But many of you are sitting there waiting and being the Shaktis, or not even the Shaktis. Many of you are just there as the Parvatis and waiting and being gentle and fighting and trying to get the men's attention, because that's mainly what Parvati did. Her main job was so that she could win Shiva over because of how she loved Shiva. And that's what she focused on. Yet she is the mother of, no, Kali. Is Kali, wait, who's the mother of Lord Ganesh? Okay, I think she's the mother of Lord Ganesh. Right? So, but then that's the thing. You need to get out of that Parvati mentality of wanting a man and wanting a man to save you, wanting to win men over and get into your Kali, your feminine rage, your dark feminine energy. Purify and cleanse your life, because a man cannot do that for you. They were failing in the mythology, and they are failing even today. Men cannot do that for you. Purify your life, take your power back, and after you've taken your power back, then, only then, can Annapurna can come through. Then, only then, can you get into that divine union. It is in your dark feminine energy. It is in the dark feminine energy in where you embody the dark goddesses, where you embody your cleansing, your ritual. It is in that energy. It is in that act where the sacred union of Tantra happened between Kali and Shiva. It is in that act where the sacred union of Tantra, the sacred union, the sacred marriage, the divine union happened. Because it is in that union, it had nothing to do with pleasure, but it was the uniting of the cosmic forces. Only then can divine union happen, and only then can the true gods and goddesses come into being. Right? So those of you who are going through your preparations for divine union, you need to know that you need to awaken the Kali out of you, the Sekhmet out of you. You need to awaken her. That goddess needs to rise. And if you are not awakening her, then you will not be able to get into divine union. That rage, that fire needs to be burning out of you, and you need to use it to purify your life. That's what you're gonna. That's what will propel you forward faster. You need to destroy every single thing in your life that is bringing your vibrations down. And only once you do that, you will then be ready to meet your divine union counterpart, who has also done the work themselves, who is ready to submit to you. Because like Lord Shiva needed to prostrate himself on the floor and submit to Goddess Kali and say, that is the only way. Right? I will talk more about this into then how then do we move into the sacred union. Only then is then Anupura. Is it Anunapa or Anupura? Only then is that Anapura. Sorry guys, sorry to the Hindi people, I'm sorry. Only then is that Goddess Annapura can come through, which then takes us to Goddess Mahdiva, where now we become the actual gods. Right? That's the journey. I hope I explained a little bit of the mythology in a way that many of you can understand it. I could have went into detail, talked about a lot of things, but this would have been confusing. Yes, in Egyptian mythology. I didn't go into detail because the story is depicted properly and well in a way that ties down the way it's depicted in Hindi. It ties perfectly with the story in my next lesson, right? Because Sekhmet, I'm not taking her into my next lesson. That's when we will come into the other gods and goddesses in the other lessons, in the next lesson. So hence, that's why I focused on Kali a lot, right? Many of you are also starting to dream of gods and goddesses. Or even in my consultations, I'm starting to now have a lot of goddesses come through and showing me different forms of who they are. And when I talk to a person, the person's like, I actually saw them, I see them, I have been seeing it in my dreams and I didn't understand it, right? Many of you are starting to work with goddess energies, and the problem is that you are always focused on the Venuses and the waters, and you are forgetting that a goddess has many faces, many sides to her. And to find that godness within you, you need to bring out Kali. You need to bring out it needs to come out. Even in the Bible, the God still destroys, still pledges, still does whatever. And in order for us to get to the point where we are going, the golden age, Kali needs to come out so that the Kali era can end, the Kali Yuga can end, so that we are then able to get into sacred divine unions, and then we are in the golden age. We are able to get into the golden age, the repairing age, the divine union, the repairing age. After the repairing age, then we are in the golden age again. All right? That's the boring lesson. I hope you guys are good. That's all I wanted to say. I will make time and write the other parts. That's the most detailed one. And the next time, we're coming into the sacred union, the divine union of the gods and the goddesses. Now we're going to talk about divine union. I once spent my first video on divine union. Someone then commented and said, I said, you guys are not ready for this information. And someone commented and said, how do you know that we are not ready? Right? And it's the very same person who was then telling me that I'm teaching people wrong doctrine, right? I knew people are not ready because that's what the angel said. People were not ready. But now, because many of you, the goddesses, are now starting your syllabus, you're taking your power back, you are ready. But you need to know what you're preparing yourself for, right? It is always good to know where you're going. You're on this journey. Many of you have been on a celibacy journey, but you didn't even know why you were on this journey. You didn't even understand. It didn't even make sense. For you to be able to understand where you're going, these lessons are helping you. Because at the end of the day, we all want to leave Earth. Unless if you are part of the few people who want to remain on this Armageddon, then this page is not for you. If you want to remain here on Earth, in the Armageddon, in the chaos, then this page is not for you. You must just leave us alone and continue with your life. Alrighty, my love, let me leave it here. Until next time, I love you guys, and I hope you guys are doing well. And continue to watch the videos. Some of you who've watched all the videos, you can go back and rewatch the videos. You will learn new things. One of my mentees is like, no, I was my putting no. I told her to go watch a certain video because she had a question. And she says every single time she watches that video, she writes new notes, new information just comes out. And she's like, but no, Osma Puti, like, now she's even starting to hear things that I've not even thought about. She's even starting to hear things that I have not touched about. And she's like, no, you gave it in that lesson. I'm like, I've never talked about that on social media. It's not something I'll talk about on social media. You are hearing it because you are ready to hear it, but you heard it through that video. You were hearing a new lesson that I don't even think I'll give on social media, right? Some are even dreaming of the lessons that I don't give on social media. Many are hearing them in the astral. cannot dictate the work of the angels and the spirits and the ancestors. We can't dictate it. It will happen. All right, let me go eat and go start my consultation. All right, my love. I love you guys, and I hope you guys are doing well. Toodles.